Welcome back. It's Totally Unbiased and the Big Blue Preview. This is the first episode of the Big Blue Preview, and we will be going over the Giants game. We're going to be previewing the Giants game. As you know, we are Giants fans, and joining me today is only one of my co-hosts, Andrew. How are we doing today?
What's going on, guys? Andrew or A.Endler on Instagram. And real quick, I'm just going to shout out our social medias. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Totally Unbiased. And you can follow us on Twitter at YT_unbiased. And then also the YouTube video you're watching right now. Click subscribe, like the video, hit the bell notification for constant updates on our daily content. And Nick, start us off.
All right, so since the Aiden's not around today, we're just going to be doing a little split screen action for you guys for most of this video. So the New York Giants are traveling over to Washington, Landover, Maryland, to FedEx Field to play the division rival Washington football team. This game will be at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and will only be shown on any NFL Network. So if you don't have NFL Network, you are out of luck. So let's not waste any time. Let's kind of get into it. Andrew's got a couple things that we're going to talk about from things to watch from the Washington point of view.
As far as Washington, one thing that's definitely going to be a big concern for me is they don't have their starting quarterback, and it's only week 2. They got Heineke under center, and I want to see if he can get that ball moving, get it to the guys who definitely need that ball. If he can't get the ball in the hands of Logan Thomas and Terry McLaurin, I don't see this offense having a great day unless Antonio Gibson can really just outshine and run all over the Giants. But I don't see this game really being a high scoring match, so it's definitely they're going to need to be on point as far as getting the ball moving with Heineke.
Yeah, for sure. I think Taylor Heineke has a really tough task on his hand. It's a Giants team that hopefully is motivated after their horrid performance last week. And, last week Heineke didn't do a great job. Maybe it's the Chargers defense, maybe because Derwin's back, they're a lot better. But I believe they were limited to around 130 passing yards after Fitzpatrick went out, or total, something like that, something a little ridiculous. But, Washington needs to figure out how to move the ball, and I definitely think Gibson is going to be a huge part of will they be able to move the ball.
Yeah, definitely. And then also it's going to be, I kind of mentioned it previously already. You got to watch Antonio Gibson. I definitely think a lot of people didn't see him having any insane numbers this year, but I really think for this team, especially with having their starting quarterback out for a couple weeks, they're definitely going to if Heineke can't get going as quick as they probably want him to, you're probably going to see him get about 15, 20 carries a game minimum, and they're really going to try and get that rushing game going as long as that line can hold their blocks. And then real quick, Nick, if you do have anything you want to throw out there on that one, or do you want me to kind of run off to my next point?
No, you're pretty solid on that. I kind of align with you there. Keep it running.
As far as Chase Young, he's got to start getting moving with the season. He's got to start having a great game. And against that Giants O-line, if it is the typical Giants O-line that we have known for the last couple years, Chase Young might be in for a big game. He could easily have a sack or two and maybe even a forced fumble because Daniel Jones has his typical one turnover a game, whether it is an interception or a fumble. So it's Chase Young's bounce back game, and there's no perfect time for it.
Yeah, definitely. And Chase Young is an important part about this. Last week, he was a ghost. Rashawn Slater wiped him off the map. He was nowhere to be found. And if you really think about the Giants-Washington matchups last year, Andrew Thomas did the same thing to him. So there is ways you can scheme Chase Young out of the game. Now, the problem then becomes Montez Sweat, because it's not just Chase Young. They have two guys on both sides, along with Payne and Allen in the middle. It's a very tough defensive line. And frankly, the Giants' offensive line is not very good. Last week they had good statistics and everything like that, but they weren't good. They weren't.
Yeah.
The right side of the line is absolutely atrocious. The line graded as good because the left side of the line was so good and the right side was so bad, they only averaged out a good grade. Andrew Thomas had the highest grade of any left tackle in pass block sets. Shane Lemieux was one of the highest graded pass blocking guards. And Nick Gates, another strong performance for Nick Gates. And then you go to Nate Solder and Will Hernandez, and they looked absolutely terrible. Will Hernandez much better than Solder, but Solder, man, I've seen corners backpedal less than Nate Solder.
Yeah, no, that Giants O-line, I mean, it does give me hope for the future, seeing that left side play so good. The fact that there is someone on the Giants O-line that was top graded at the position for a week kind of hits me in a funny way. I haven't heard that in a long time. So it's
Or ever.
yeah, I mean, not that it gives me so much hope, but if the left side stays consistent, at least upcoming before the trade deadline and going into next year, even though that's far out from now, they only got to worry about the right side of the line if they can't square it away this season. So it definitely does give me hope for that Giants O-line. Definitely nowhere near where it needs to be, but shows some final signs of having the potential to be a good line and
Yeah,
piece
the
the
young
puzzle
guys looked
together.
good. The guys on the left are the young guys, and they all looked pretty good. But that D line is vicious there tonight, so we're gonna see what they do. The Chargers really had their way with that. The score was closer because Washington had two turnovers in the red zone, which was really helpful for them. But the Chargers, on the other hand, I mean, their offensive line did a great job, and we have to see if the Giants' offensive line can do the same thing. Justin Herbert really wasn't touched much all game. And, believe it or not, actually, everybody who watches the Giants will believe it. They have allowed Daniel Jones to be pressured on 42% of dropbacks since he has been in the league. 42%. Almost half the times he steps back to pass, he's under pressure. Horrible. Absolutely terrible. Build this line, he says. Yeah, I'm going to get you some hog mollies. You know what he got you? Nothing. He's a hog. That's what he got. But let's not get carried away. So let's talk about a little bit of the Giants' point of view because we just went over Washington. What is Saquon's role? Personally, I'm not too sure what his role is. He had the most snaps of any running back last week on the team. Although once Saquon is Saquon, he's ready and he's going, he's going to get like 90% of the snaps, 80% of the snaps. But how many will he see this week, do you think?
I mean, this week I want to say that, I mean, last time in one of our previous videos, I talked about it. Jason Garrett has got to change up the way he's calling this offense. I know they're slowly bringing Saquon back in, but I think Saquon wants to be full speed. I don't think that's a coach's decision. That is not a Saquon decision. He wants to get out there and start pumping out plays. So if he gets his way, 20 carries this game. Jason Garrett's way, 12 carries, he stays limited, and the Giants just screw themselves this whole game.
Yeah, so I happen to disagree a little bit, and I think the conservativeness of Garrett really stems from the quarterback position rather than the running back position. I think there was a bit of, obviously, we're holding him back. They're holding him back for injury and reasons, and I understand that. I think Garrett's influence is only good when it comes to the running back position. Now, I personally think that when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, there's two things you notice once Garrett left. Dak Prescott became an elite quarterback, and Ezekiel Elliott became a bottom shelf running back. That is something to remember. And I think he could do wonders for Barkley. I really do. Garrett's outreach for me is more about Daniel Jones, which kind of leads us into our next point. And will the Giants let Daniel Jones loose? I have the answer. No, they won't do it. They're already talking about taking away at this defense, little dinky duck. Throw the ball down the field. We're at the point where we need to see what this guy has, right? We need to see what Daniel Jones is. If we need to see what it is, let him throw the ball down the field. He throws the ball down the field and he stinks at it, that's fine. You know what he is. He stinks. He's a bad quarterback. You need a new one. But if you keep doing this, we don't know what Daniel Jones can be. I mean, already what we do know is Daniel Jones has the athleticism to be able to run the ball. 0 design runs last week until the quarterback draw in the fourth quarter. 0.
But with Daniel Jones getting that ball aired out, they got to air the ball out. Daniel Jones is accurate down the field. And I know Darius Slayton didn't have much of a good game for himself, but last year, Darius Slayton was his deep target before Gallaudet got on the scene. I believe Gallaudet is the new deep threat, but Slayton can still be one. He was week 1. I remember week 1 of last year against the Steelers, a game day.
That was the only time they schemed anything.
It was perfect. He got him right in the end zone between two defenders. He can put the ball right on the money, and they don't let him do it time and time again. And it makes you wonder, does it stem from he doesn't have a pocket awareness, and they're worried he's going to get hit on the backside and just fumble every time when he's looking down the field for a 40-yard pass.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. His pocket awareness is next to none, as in horrid. He has no idea what he. Although last week I will say he wasn't blindsided by anything. He had a little bit of a better feel than he usually does. But I gotta say, I just think Jason Garrett really has him in a chokehold. I don't see them being able to air the ball out down the field because they don't want to. They clearly do not want to. The Giants have done a horrible job at airing the ball down the field. Horrible. And they have one of the highest success rates of doing it. It doesn't make any sense. Is it because they're catching teams off guard? Maybe, sure. But at the same time, how are we going to know if they're actually good at it or not if they don't do it enough? They don't do it with conviction. They do it with desperation. That's the problem. Once they go down double digits, they start pushing the ball. How about you don't be complacent and you push the ball off the bat?
Yeah, no, the Giants got to stop being this. I feel like just over the last couple years, I mean, regardless, I don't think they ever were the last couple years, besides maybe that one playoff run they had, a playoff caliber team, but they always have this play from behind comeback mentality, it looks like, because they don't want to take a lead, but then they want to start busting their ass once a 2-touchdown deficit comes, but the momentum's already so out of their favor that they can't catch back up quick enough.
Yeah, it's like weird because they're not aggressive. They're like afraid to lose, and then they start losing, and they're like, oh, we should probably be aggressive. Listen, if the Giants are going to lose because Daniel Jones threw 2 picks, but he also had 400 yards, 300 yards, okay. But if they're going to lose because he has 1 fumble on 200 passing yards, and they're not scoring, they have less than 20 points again, then that's a problem. Like, listen, whether or not you like Daniel Jones or not, he needs to throw the ball down the field. He needs to be trusted to throw the ball down the field because not for nothing, time's running out. This is Daniel Jones' last chance to earn it. This year is his last chance because if he's not the guy, they need to move on. Cut your pride, cut all that stuff. Like, I don't care. Oh, you got to stick with this guy. No, you don't. Cut ties, cut bait. The 49ers signed they signed Garoppolo, big contract, traded for him, big contract. They just drafted a quarterback a year and a half removed from a Super Bowl. Why? Can't get complacent. You can't just sit there and I'm trying to think of the word. You can't sit there and try to just cover your mistakes.
You can't just wait for that moment to happen because it simply may never come. I mean, I was a big advocate saying that with the way everything's going now, that maybe you give him 1 more year. He's had a head coach switch and an offensive coordinator switch within his short time span in New York so far. But I'm more along the lines of you see the potential that this team has. I still believe the defense as a whole can become a top 10 unit and get their stuff together. That I believe they just had a shaky week 1 start. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I like Shepard. I like Slayton. He had a bad week 1. I don't think that's going to be the case. I like Gallaudet. He's an aggressive ball grabber. And obviously I like Saquon. But I see the O-line getting better. And the one person who has stayed somewhat steady is Daniel Jones.
I can make the argument he's gotten worse. Like last year, I will say last year, week 9 through 17, he did play better than he did before that. But at the same time, what are we comparing it to? Like, seriously, what are we comparing it to? His rookie year, he scored touchdowns at an elite volume. He had almost 30 total touchdowns in around 12 to 13 games as a rookie. 30. He had 12 touchdown passes last year. 12. You're telling me that this guy can't score touchdowns? No, that's baloney. I know he can score. We've seen it. They don't let him try to score. They don't let him push the ball down the field. And that's the whole issue with this team. Jason Garrett calls 3 plays for 10 yards. He's not calling plays to score. That's a huge problem. And you brought up Kenny Gallaudet, which is a good point. And let's push into more him. Kenny Gallaudet is, this big free agent signing. He had 1 target until the 4th quarter. They need to push the ball to Kenny Gallaudet. And, a part of a part of being a better team is being able to use your tools the way they're designed to be used. Throw the ball down the field to Kenny Gallaudet. Throw the ball down the field to Sterling Shepard. Throw the ball down the field to Darius Slayton. Give Saquon catches and runs. Stop. Take off the training wheels. It's time to go. Because not for nothing, and this kind of leads us into our next point. Is Jason Garrett on the hot seat already?
Yeah, I 100% believe it. I really do. My hopes and dreams are he's gone like by the end of this season. I don't even want to see him have a full season here. Because it's clear as day that he's got the training wheels on, as you put it. He's got them at limited capacity, limited array or range of what they are allowed to do on the field with what he calls in his play style, and it doesn't work. I mean, like you said, he goes from 30 touchdowns, Daniel Jones, his rookie year, and he drops all the way down to 12. Look at Dak Prescott. Started off as kind of like, mediocre. People made the case because, people made the case that he was good because they were Cowboys fans. But now with Jason Garrett gone, as a Giants fan, I can't even deny that. Dak Prescott is balling out on a great level. He is a great quarterback, and you see it.
Yeah, so that's just something that it's absurd. It's absurd to think about. It really is. But let's kind of get into the injury report. There's not much here on the Washington side except for starting quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick has been placed on injured reserve due to a hip injury. His game status, obviously, he's not injured reserve. He's not playing. Antonio Gibson is a full participant on Tuesday and Wednesday, and he is active for tonight's game. Now for the Giants have a pretty banged up injury report. Cam Brown didn't practice all week with a hamstring. He is out. Evan Ingram, he did a little more work with the team this week, but he also did not practice in team fashion all week. He is out. Shane Lemieux, he has a partially torn patella tendon, but we knew this coming into the season. We knew this coming into week 1, so it was going to be tough for him to play on a short week. He did not practice all week, and he is also out. Saquon Barkley was limited all week with the same knee, but Saquon will play. I'm not worried about that at all. So we're going to talk about a couple key matchups. We kind of brushed upon a few of them earlier, but the first one I want to ask you about Chase Young versus Andrew Thomas, part 3.
I definitely think Andrew Thomas could make Chase Young irrelevant, but I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I definitely think that Andrew Thomas can perform how he did week 1, but I definitely believe Chase Young in his own head, he wants to get out there and he wants to put up some numbers. He wants to put himself back on the map. He wants to be a highlight of that defensive line this week.
He wants to bounce back.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then the next matchup we got Kenny Gallaudet and Sterling Shepard versus Kendall Fuller and William Jackson.
I'm going to say that I really don't know. But actually, no, I do have more of a definite opinion. I think for whatever reason, Shepard is going to be the one to get locked down, and this is Gallaudet's week to really show why he was signed to this team. They're not an awful defense. They're not a top 5 defense, but it'll definitely give Gallaudet a little chance to shine and show people why he was worth that contract this offseason.
Yeah, I think Shepard had a great game last week, and I think they're going to prepare for him. Although he's a slot receiver. Shepard has always been a slot receiver. He just hasn't been played at slot receiver because they have nobody else. So now that he's back in the slot, I could definitely see him playing a lot better football. Logan Thomas versus Jabril Peppers. Jabril had a tough week last week. He lost some snaps later in that game because he could not cover Noah Fant. Noah Fant just ran crossing routes, trail routes, drag routes. Couldn't cover him. He just couldn't cover him.
Yeah, that was definitely surprising to see. But as far as the matchup, I don't know if I see him playing at an elite level tonight. But I definitely see Logan Thomas getting locked down one way or another. Like if they have to pull Jabril Peppers out and they put somebody else in, I don't think Logan Thomas is going to do any Rob Gronkowski week 1 numbers, to put it that way.
For sure. And finally, before we pick the game, how much will Kadarius Toney and Saquon Barkley play?
Saquon, like I said, I believe in in his personal opinion, he wants 20 carries. He wants to be in for the entire game. He wants to catch passes out of the backfield. He's not going to get that, though. I believe he's limited to 12 to 15 carries at an absolute max. And Kadarius Toney, I'd like to see him in there more. I'd like, with Evan Ingram out, do some empty backfield. Get your guys out there. Let them run down the field. Open up the playbook. Air
Take
it
the training
out.
wheels off. Do it.
No, I mean, I definitely think that he should play, but I don't know how much we're really going to see out of him. It's Jason Garrett until by week 3 or 4, if everything seems the same, I'm going to have the same thing to say. Just look at last week's film and just replace the team on defense, because it doesn't seem like Jason Garrett knows how to switch up what he's doing.
Yeah, all right, so let's pick this game. I'm going to start with picking this game because I also agree with you. I don't know how... I hope they use Toney, but before I pick the game, really, a lot of people don't understand why Toney hasn't really been playing, and they haven't stated it. It's been undisclosed, but, I truly believe it was because of a very bad case of COVID-19, and he hasn't been the same guy. He hasn't been able to get out there, and he really got hit hard by the virus, so I really hope that he is getting back to it. He's getting more comfortable. But let's pick this game. So I'm going to pick this game first. I'm going to go with a final score of 17-13 New York. And obviously, we're Giant fans are going to pick New York, maybe. I don't know if Andrew's going to pick. But Daniel Jones is undefeated against Washington. So that's really the only basis I have. He hasn't lost to Washington, so he might have a ton of confidence going in. Hopefully, he has some confidence. With Saquon playing a little bit more, I could see the Giants really having their way with Washington's secondary. You can attack Washington secondary. You can attack their linebackers. You need to run the ball to neutralize this defensive line. So let's hope the Giants do that. 17-13 New York Giants for me.
There's a fly. You're going to have to cut this. I'm going to kill this bitch. I mean, yeah, Nick, for this game, I mean, you are kind of right. I don't have faith in the Giants. After seeing what I saw week 1, I really don't know if I could see them pulling out a win. I would like to believe they could, because Daniel Jones is undefeated against Washington. But as far as my pick, I'm going to go about like 21-17, 21-14 in favor of Washington. If somehow the Giants do win, it's got to be low scoring, something like you said. It's got to be like a 17-14, a 14-10, something like that kind of matchup. But I'm going with Washington. I'm going against my own team here.
All right, well, differing opinions is always a good thing, but thank you guys for watching the Big Blue Preview. Check out our other video later today. We'll be posting Who Wins, Who Loses, where we go over all the NFL games. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out our socials. Andrew's going to remind you of all of our socials, and we appreciate your audience.
Yep, guys, so on social media, TikTok and Instagram, follow us at Totally Unbiased. Twitter, follow us at YT_Unbiased. And if you guys are watching this video right on YouTube, down below, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and like this video so we pop up on your recommended page. And thank you guys for watching.